Nah, bro, I'm here to play.
Players, they're all here at the 2024 PokerGO Cup. Welcome to Las Vegas for the first of 8 final tables of the 2024 PokerGO Cup. We'll take you inside the PokerGO studio for some high-stakes, no-limit hold'em tournament action. Today's buy-in is $5,000. My name is Remko Rinkema. Donnie Peters alongside me for the call here at our first final table of what will be an epic major season on the PokerGO Tour. We got a stacked final table for you, and leading the way, none other than David Peters. He is 10th on Poker's all-time money list, and year after year, he keeps creeping up that leaderboard. Cody Daniels, at his first major PGT final table, made a deep run in the 2023 WSOP main event. His story is special. We'll dive into that at this final table. And here's a look at our final table chip counts presented by Octopi Poker. Mark Ioli, second in chips. Old school German high roller legend Fabian Quoss back in the mix. Shawn Daniels, 2 million chips. Cody Daniels, aforementioned, on 575K. And Dusti Smith, our current short stack with $141,000 up top. Here are the payouts presented by PokerGO Play. Sixth guaranteed $27,750. And we're going to see some huge pay jumps as this final table unfolds.
He's going off forever about it. It was so funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. All right.
All right, good luck.
Good luck, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good luck indeed to these remaining 6.
My boys, Wes, Nathan, Aaron, love you all. The motivation for me being here. And I think the first hand might be my last.
Cody Daniels finds ace-queen offsuit on the button. He is also one of our 2 short stacks. Donnie, Cody Daniels, a huge story
Oh, is it 80?
that's been captivating the poker world for quite some time now.
Yeah, Cody Daniels, unfortunately terminally ill, but living out his dream
put the key
every
with
single
it.
day. Bucket list item here.
Good luck, man.
Knocked out by David Peters?
Let's see if he can double up.
What's the count?
No! We faded the snap. Let's go. You have 7s?
575.
You do? Nah,
575.
pre-9 off. Just bullying me, huh?
Close.
You got the bumblebees to recover. Is this a phone? Oh, 7s? King 9 off. I was close. Good luck, you guys.
Good luck, buddy.
Me, I guess. Boom, we're all in first hand. Ace queen against king 9.
You do it for the key.
Let's go, baby.
For the key, yeah.
Cody Daniels
David,
all in for
you don't wanna
7
like
bigs.
this first hand, right?
Without the
You
key
built up
equity, I
the
fold.
you built up the key quite a bit.
Oh, I should have.
Let's go, David!
Yes.
Go, David!
Ace high. Oh.
That's good. That's good.
Queen high board. Boom. You wouldn't have called with the key, huh? You
Yeah,
did-
the key
yeah.
equity made me call.
No king, Mom. There's 4 kings in the deck, Mom.
Happy to let Cody Daniels do his own commentary here as he looks to fade a king or a 10
Don't
headed
do it
toward
to
the
me,
river.
baby.
You got it.
Everyone rooting for Cody
Oh, you
Daniels.
first hand.
Maybe even David Peters.
Let's roll,
You
baby.
gotta believe. And make you sweat it.
River card.
Let's go, man.
There it is.
Should I grab it? Or no? Let's go.
Cody Daniels with a double up on the very first hand to play. Donnie, you were around for last night's action. I heard that the whole room was on his side.
Yeah, and he was all in, I believe, 3 times on the bubble, which is pretty crazy.
Feel real. I'm gonna be real with you.
He's been talking about his excitement throughout this entire event. As you can see, evidenced right there by his actions. I mean, he's just wearing it all on his sleeve, and you absolutely
Sevens was
love
a
to
snap.
see
I was
it.
close with the queen 9, I guess.
Cody Daniels, originally from Phoenix, Arizona,
King on the river just sends
avid
me to the
musician,
shop.
and he met Obama in 2015.
Yeah.
I don't know too many people who've met former U.S. presidents.
Man.
Of course, David Peters can stomach a little dent to his stack, still sitting on 53 bigs after this hand. And there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. If you are new to poker,
iPhone.
you might not have seen this guy, Donnie, because he's been gone for a while.
He has been gone for a while. Fabian Quoss, often referred to as Fabi. You know, it was around kind of when the first wave of Germans, you know, were taking the poker world by storm. Also kind of coincidentally that a lot of that happened during the Aussie Millions. Aussie Millions, of course, always took place in January. It's January, you know, so a little bit weird to see him back, but I guess he's in town, you know, coming over to the States for a little bit of a vacation.
We're gonna keep the key back and
Popped into the studio, and here he is, final table.
Yeah, Fabi and I go way back to when I first started doing live
Sitting to
reporting
your
in
right
poker.
is such a disadvantage with the key, you know.
I
You never
know,
know what you're
you
gonna
never
do
know.
with that key.
Brutal
And
for you.
you guys got the rec player to beat up on.
What I was going to say, Quoss, one of the nicest guys on tour, and really came up with those early German high rollers. Tobias Renkema was part of that group.
160.
Philip Grusom. They traveled the world. They destroyed everyone in that generation before Fedor Holtz
Just gotta
became a
stop
big
talking
star.
For 1 second, for once.
Daniels, as mentioned, living his poker dream here in Las Vegas. And ace-queen now for the second time in just 3 hands.
Yeah, this could be an interesting spot given that Dusti Smith has just 5 big blinds, just under 5 big blinds in her stack there. So might be some ICM implications involved here for
Improve
Cody
also the
Daniels with that
key,
ace
huh?
queen.
9-2 to 9-3 to Jack 3.
There you go.
Only get better.
Action folds back around to Daniels after Ioli made it 4:20 to go.
Gonna be it again.
Daniels already announced that this is going to be it again. Hasn't committed all his chips yet, but would not be surprised to see him shove.
So little, so.
If he does shove
I
here,
feel like you
it's
have
got to
ace
look
king.
super strong to Ioli, right? I mean, just given the fact, again, Smith there with sub 5 big blinds in her stack.
I mean, is that a big consideration for Cody here, Donnie? The fact that Dusti is
I
so
think
short?
you should go with the charts that I've never looked at.
Yeah, I mean, I think
You
it is
gotta laugh at 'em.
consideration.
We got the live tells.
You just doubled up, you know, you're sitting on about 15 big blinds or so. You know, do you just want to risk it all here on ace queen off?
On.
There it
He
is,
does.
the announcement of the all-in shove, and Ioli snapping it off with ace-jack.
We're all in again.
Wow. Cody
Let's
Daniels,
go.
a clean run out away from a huge stack.
Outer, Mom. Ace queen against ace jack. Let's fucking go. Please. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. Ace queen. My boy, Mr. Walton.
Yo, I haven't seen you forever. Good
Just a
hunting, man.
3-outer to
Congrats.
just
Hey, thanks.
scour me.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Happy to let Cody Daniels once again do his own commentary. Here's the flop. King high, very clean for the ace-queen.
Come on. It's like king blank blank.
They make it so painful with the sweat, you know?
They do. I kind of like it though.
It is. It adds
Yeah.
some suspense before I get, you know,
3 outed, exactly.
3-outed. And
6 on the turn, still clean.
One more card, Mom.
We could chop too if you want.
Yeah, we should.
There is a chop option here. Ioli looking for a jack to
Rick.
send Cody Daniels to the rail.
Rick, please.
River card.
No!
Oh, no.
Disaster river card for Cody Daniels.
That's so gross.
Nice
Good game, you guys.
So.
Good game.
Oh, there.
Good game, Cody.
Good game.
Good game.
Good job, Cody.
Congrats.
Poker dream
Thanks.
shattered, but I'm guessing he still lived that dream here inside the
You're
studio.
an absolute criminal.
I'm sorry,
That was
man. It
fucking
wasn't that many
criminal.
big blinds. What do you want me to do,
The
bro?
river like that?
Yeah,
sorry.
what? Jeez.
That was mean, man. I
terrible
get,
person.
I get my chips back. Give me my chips back.
Now you got more time to build in that and come
No,
back.
I'm not playing.
Good luck, brother. Nice playing.
Brutal
Thank you, man.
river
Go
card
play
for
my
Cody
ball.
Daniels.
Go
Still
win
a nice run,
Alrighty.
a deep finish in this event.
Another coin there?
Takes home $27,750.
All right. I'm going to have to circle
And,
back with him later. Well, if I still get it.
I don't think Mark Ioli will be having many fans here at the final table, Donnie.
No, I mean, how can you root for the guy now? I mean, not only did he bad beat him, it was on the river, a 3-outer.
Absolutely brutal way to exit for Cody Daniels. But hey, you know, he played to run up a huge stack, found a hand to go with, and you know, if he had won that hand, he would have been in real contention. Now, I guess it's Ioli's tournament.
Anyone know what the key's for?
Picks up 2 aces now
Does anybody know?
No idea.
in a spot where you
Whoever
would.
wins better make a huge post.
Given that he
about it.
just 3-bet called it off, and he
Gotta
called it off
know.
pretty quickly, right? Again, with Dusti Smith sub-5 big blinds. Now Ioli's in the chip lead. It's just a great spot for him in general to leverage some of the other players at the table. Of course, he picks up aces. He's not going to get any action, but you know that could have looked pretty good for him if somebody had
that's the
something
etiquette
somewhat decent to
That
play.
this off has to be shown.
You got to show, yeah.
Very lively
You gotta show
atmosphere
them. If you
here
had anything better, you would call.
inside the
Only
PokerGO
full
studio.
bet,
Yeah,
Event 2 also underway.
Yeah.
10K no limit hold'em as we see the embrace between Cody Daniels
Yeah.
and his mom, who came out
5
to
seconds. Yeah.
watch him make this deep run. Once again, shout out to Cody Daniels. Hope we get to see him more, if not here at the PokerGO Cup, maybe one of our future series.
Come on, Matthew.
Of course, he made that run in the main event last year, but everyone was on his side. If he's able to make it out there again, I'm pretty sure that everyone once again will be following his every move.
A little better. Jack
See
4.
on stream.
As I said, event number 2 underway, 10K no limit hold'em. Check out pgt.com for live reporting if you want to stay up to date on who will be at tomorrow's final table, because we have 8 final tables for you during the PokerGO Cup. So much poker. Absolutely love to see it. Love these vibes, love these tunes, Donnie.
Mullen.
Dusti Smith, our current short stack, she's all in for 355K, 9-8 of hearts.
755,000.
Donnie, you might as well have 9-8 suited when you have 4 bigs.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is a pretty good hand. Even if you get called,
Or 355.
figure you're going to be decently live in a lot of spots. Would expect we see Fabian Quoss here to get involved.
Do you want the count before or after I double up?
Cool.
Fabian Quoss makes the call to put Dusti Smith at risk. Let's see if the blinds find anything playable. Otherwise, we'll see a heads-up showdown here. And there it is. 2 quick folds from the blinds, and Dusti Smith now at risk and looking for some help. But hey, 40% equity, you know, this is not bad at all. When you have 9-8 of hearts all in, you're just hoping that Fabi doesn't turn over 9s or 8s, and you're basically pretty safe. And in this case, she has many options.
Yeah, all her hearts are live too. Quoss doesn't even have a single heart.
All right, here's the flop. 3-3-3. Well, it's very clear now. A 9 or an 8 is what she needs. Running hearts still an option as well. Fabian Quoss has maybe seen more all-ins than all these players, has been in the game for a very long time.
I'll take a shot.
Unfazed by this showdown. A 4 on the river would chop it. Smith looking for a 9 or an 8 to double up. Oh, there it is.
Double up.
Chop it up.
Wow.
Let's go.
Full
Because you
house.
weren't greedy. You asked for a chop. You get the win.
Thank you.
Donnie, we're 6 hands in, and it's been action, action, action.
It's been a wild start here. You absolutely love to see it. You really do. Excitement there for Dusti Smith with that 9 on the river.
You gotta also love the buzz in the room for that second event getting underway, filling the room with some noise. Lots of players also, of course, sweating along with this final table. Here's a look at that event number 1 tournament update. We had 111 entries, 5 remain. Average stack currently worth 34 big blinds. We're playing down to a winner in this event.
First time we've done a $5,000 buy-in for the PokerGO Cup for one of our majors. So one of the reasons we have some new faces here in the mix and ultimately making this final table, which is great, you know. Hopefully, you know, some of them can propel these scores, these deep runs, into further success, both at the PokerGO Cup and also along the entire PGT season.
Shawn Daniels raising it up with ace-jack offsuit. Daniels, no stranger to tournament play. 141 total live cashes.
So Shawn Daniels used to play
Bully.
Green Valley Ranch Casino.
No way.
In the back.
Never.
Against
Well,
a
I'm gonna look back. I
player
know you didn't have
known
shit.
as Muahaha. And they would just battle at like 10-25, no limit hold'em. Like each of them would have like 20, 30K on the table, just in the back corner of Green Valley Ranch.
Heads up.
Yeah, sometimes 3-handed, you know, maybe sometimes 4-handed. I had a couple friends of mine in town that play some higher stakes, would try and get into that game at times, but yeah, I
Just
think
do what other people are
I think
thinking,
at times that
right?
was Daniel's white whale that allowed him to go on to some of this bigger success then.
That is awesome. Absolutely love to hear those stories.
The worst part is just during his speech, I really thought, I'm like, shit, he has ace queen for sure here. But I'm just like, what, you know, what am I going to do at this point? But that's kind of what it felt like. Maybe I could be a ninja and fold for like, but that sounds crazy. I don't know.
Shawn Daniels, by the way, winner of a World Series poker bracelet in the Lucky Sevens tournament this past summer.
Yeah.
He's like,
Wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth
I know he's got ace queen, but I really want the key.
Wow, bro. No mercy.
The key equity was real.
I think I can live with it, to be honest with you. I think I'll
Ioli staying aggressive. This time pocket fives, raising it up. And a bunch of folds, and you know, there's lots of value in picking up those blinds and antes. Ioli now comfortably in the lead, 5.3 million, well ahead of David Peters, who was second in chips with just over 4 million. If you want to get in the game yourself, check out PokerGO Play right now. Go to PokerGoPlay.com through whatever your app store is and start playing right away. There's always a game for you on PokerGoPlay.com.
PokerGO Play now offering $10,000 plus in sweepstakes prizing. So if that's something that you guys
I was fine whenever
want to get involved in,
I
something
think I've
that
got
attracts
just a
you to
stone
play,
cold nuts,
certainly
and
go
I'm
do so.
so
No
excited
purchase
to count my
necessary with
chips
PokerGO Play.
early that I lose it.
Yeah.
Players, thank you very much for coming out today for the first 10K of the series.
Change.
Yeah.
Donnie, something special just happened.
What's that?
For the first time during all our thousands of hours doing commentary, I took off my hoodie, which means that I'm just so hot and excited about the action that I just had to cool down a little bit.
It is a little hot in here, I will say.
We're used to the frigid
other room
temperatures.
is an ice box. This is like, I like it cold though. I'd rather it be cold. So.
Starting blinds are 5-1-1. Go ahead, get them in the air. 5-1-1.
Paul Campbell with the announcement for event number 2 in the background. By the way, quick shout out to everyone in the chat with us on PokerGo.com, on YouTube. We are live on Twitch as well. Very much appreciate everyone for tuning in. All we ask for those watching on YouTube, just hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot. Just a click of one button. Also, if you're with us in the chat, please let us know where you're watching from, who you're rooting for. It's going to be 8 events from the PokerGO Cup, going up all the way to 25K. So you'll see the Coons and the Petrangelos and the Negreanos of this world playing at some of these final tables. I can only imagine between the 3 of them, they should make at least one final table. Meanwhile, We've arrived on the turn. Ioli versus Peters. Peters flop top pair. Ioli turned top pair. Little blind battle here as Ioli bet 80K on the flop. Peters came along. Ioli now betting 160K on the turn. Donnie, if you're Peters, you got to feel pretty good about flopping a 7. How much does the queen on the turn irritate you when you have that pair?
I mean, I don't think too much. I mean, you know, it's just the turn right now, so you're still gonna have to see how things go on the river. But
165?
you know, it's only one overcard. Yeah, you might have to worry about some better 2 pairs. Maybe there are some times he has a 4. But I think you're all right if you're Peters. You know, you feel, you know, you're not like fist pumping where you're gonna raise, but you know, you're probably gonna call, and he's probably gonna call here with this river coming in another 4. He does make the call. He's going to see the bad news. Ioli here continues to run hot.
4?
Yeah, 4.
The start of this final table. Of course, he knocked out Cody Daniels with that 3-outer on the river. Picked the bases immediately the next hand. Won a couple pots since, up over 6 million.
Momentum definitely a thing for Mark Ioli. His first live cash back in 09. But more importantly, his first live win in June of 2023, winning his first World Series of Poker bracelet for $558,000 in a 3K no-limit event. Mark Ioli well on his way to a potential win on the PokerGO Tour. This would be a very nice addition to his poker resume. Ioli up to 1.6 million in career tournament earnings, not including this current event. The battle, by the way, Donnie, for his bracelet in the summer went so long that they had to come back the next day for an additional day of play. I feel as though that's when you know who really wants it. You know, when you're willing to just stick to your game, not take any risks when at 3 in the morning you're feeling tired and you kind of want to get it over with. You've already locked up a huge score. Ioli stayed patient, returned the following day, and closed it out. Got to tip my cap to that determination. Mark Ioli also big-time Bitcoin guy. Found out about Bitcoin in 2013, Donnie. That's all I'll say.
Oh, yeah.
If you find out about Bitcoin in 2013, then you were doing it right.
I believe he was also former Supernova Elite back in the day.
Really?
Like, you know, one of the OGs of
Mullen.
the old PokerStars rewards program that everyone loved so much.
Dusti Smith here, all in from the small blind. Ace-10 offsuit for $550K. And Shawn Daniels with the snap call, finding pocket queens in the big blind. Still not the worst case scenario for Smith when you have the ace versus the big pair. She's still got roughly 30% equity, so let's see if she can find an ace somewhere to stay in contention here. Here's the flop. 9-8 deuce, 2 spades. Always want to keep those backdoor draws in mind as Smith can now exactly improve quite a bit. 10 of spades would give her even more outs. An ace, of course, would almost secure a double up. And now that the 5 on the turn appeared.
All right.
It worked the last time.
5 of diamonds.
Can she find an ace to stay alive?
Yeah.
River card is the Jack of Hearts, and that is it for Dusti Smith.
Yeah,
you
Thanks, Joe.
Great run by her at this final table in this event. Shawn Daniels raking in the chips. Dusti Smith, by the way, $434,000 in career tournament earnings.
Oh, wow, that's nice. They heard me.
This one of her largest scores to date.
When you have a moment, can you give me a rough comment?
Shout out to her
Yeah,
dogs,
it should
Billy
be like
Love
2 points.
and Johnny Joy.
I'll let you
2
know,
Yorkies. I'm sure Negrano would approve. Here's a look at our PGT $1 million free roll. Massive event coming up at the end of the current PGT season.
And it's an event you can win your way into we are sending 10 Remko
Crazy.
annual PokerGo subscribers to compete in the Dream Seat Invitational, right? So if you are one of those 10 winners, you get a Dream Pass. You come out to the studio. You play on the eve of the PGT Championship. If you go far enough, you will win a seat into the $1 million free roll, the PGT Championship. Again, that is for annual PokerGo subscribers. So you can either sign up, or if you're a monthly or a quarterly subscriber, you can upgrade. I would recommend that you use the code PGTDREAM24 because that'll get you $20 off of your first year of a new annual subscription. So yeah, get in there.
1.6-ish before the
Maybe you can be the next Arden Cho.
I mean,
She had a Dream Seat last year, right?
that was a phenomenal final table of the PGT Championship. Arden Show putting on quite the clinic. If you want to rewatch that, we have the full on-demand broadcast available on both YouTube and PokerGo.com. Well worth a watch. That was a fantastic final table. Won't spoil the winner in case you haven't seen it yet. Peters and Quoss here going head-to-head. Donnie, I feel as though Peters was just coming into the high roller scene as Fabi was starting to take a few steps back. He was definitely there well before him.
Peters, you know, he's always been a grinder, has always put in a ton of volume. But yeah, I mean, Quoss was at least on the high stakes scene before Peters was, and then Peters, you know, eventually worked his way up to these levels, of course, you know.
Started from the bottom, now he's here.
That's right. Interesting turn card here. I think the check call on the flop from Fabian Quoss is pretty standard. You know, king high can be good here at times. He's got the backdoor diamonds. He's got a backdoor straight with that 6. Now he turns that flush draw. He checks once again to Peters. Peters does maintain the jacks as an overpair to the board, also working with those 3s for 2 pair.
450.
Larger sizing here. Gonna try and deny some equity to the types of holdings that Quoss does have here. You know, these backdoor flush draws. Maybe there was a heart draw on the flop. Maybe some straight draws. You know, of course, the overcards as well. So, and Quoss could be sized here to possibly check jam. You know, see what he wants to come with. It's so hard when you check call the flop and then you turn. You don't directly connect on the turn, but you turn a good card for you, right? You know, so you're like, well, I kind of want to continue more.
Quoss definitely winning the beard game. And there it is. He moves all in. Peters with the snap call with the overpair. Quoss looking for a diamond or a king, or otherwise he will be our next player eliminated. And things are moving really fast here at the final table of Event 1 of the PokerGo Cup. Fabian Quoss has seen a spot like this probably hundreds of times before. Goes for it on the turn when a favorable card for his hand hits. And now he is looking to hit one of 11 cards to stay in this event with 3.2 million in the middle. Can he find it? River card is the ace of spades. And the German superstar makes his exit from this final table. It's cool having him back. I'm not sure if he is on vacation now as a poker player or whether we'll see much more of him in the weeks and months to come. Either way, he takes home just shy of 50K for his 4th place finish.
Making sure it was still 20 pre.
Not the river he wanted to see. A little bit of a frown there from Fabian Quoss. Quoss, by the way, played in our first ever Poker Masters way back in 2018. And here's a look at the man who sent him to the rail, David Peters. 44.2 million in career tournament earnings. Let that number sink in. That is absolutely insane. 37 wins. And he might get up to 400 live cashes by the end of this year if he keeps this up. David Peters. Maybe some daddy run good later this year, Donnie.
Oh, sorry.
That baby run good, I think, is real for a lot of people. Not me, but a lot of other people out there. Peters here getting right back to work. Ace, deuce of spades. There's a dead small blind here with that elimination of Fabian Quoss in the last hand. Shawn Daniels maybe wants to get frisky here with the queen 10. They are 3-handed now. Maybe Peters opens up a little bit wider. He gives it up. Ioli here, though, in the big blind, also with the chip lead, of course.
King, queen, 9 on the flop.
It's a pretty good one.
If you're holding Jack 10, it is kind of a decent flop. 0.9% chance for David Peters to win this hand.
This is also one of those flops where, you know, Ioli straight works in the sense that he doesn't have any, like, he unblocks all the pairs that Peters could possibly have. It's a king high board, which as the pre-flop raiser, Peters is probably likely going to represent, you know. So if you're Ioli, you know, you're probably just going to just check call, just set that trap a little bit more. Even though there are hearts out there, I mean, it's three-handed. He doesn't necessarily have hearts, so you don't need to be overly worried about that. You also have the 10 of hearts in your hand, you know, blocking some hard combinations out there.
The fact that Peters doesn't have any hearts not working in Ioli's favor, because now Peters is going to give Ioli more credit for a heart. On top of the fact, of course, that Peters has nothing.
Yeah, Peters just checking back here. I think that's more of a shut down check behind versus a, you know, I have some showdown value check behind. That board a little bit too coordinated out there that Peters might just feel like, you know, I'm going to be beat here a lot of times with the way that this one has played out so far. So we'll save some money for a different spot.
And look at Ioli
now it
getting,
goes check, check.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you have some different aspirations, right?
I was going to say Ioli maybe getting a little bit tricky, hoping for a stab from David Peters. Peters, the last remaining ginger beard at this final table after the exit of Fabian Quoss.
330,000.
Just about half pot here from Peters. In an ideal world, if you're Mark Ioli, you know, you want Peters to have the 6-7. You know, turns the straight draw, checks it back, gets there on the river, but of course you have the better straight. I would expect a check raise coming here from Ioli.
$1.1 million.
Oh, there it is. 1.1 million from Ioli, and that should send the signal to David Peters that this is not the pot for him. And to finish the joke that I was trying to make, David Peters and I turning gray in our ginger beards at the same clip, Donnie. We must be related somewhere down the line. Mark Ioli, meanwhile, chipping up to 7 million chips from Bayside, New York. Ioli, 87 big blinds. Has to be the favorite to take this one down.
Cool.
Here's a look at a tournament format presented by Mescla. 5K buy-in, 30-minute levels, and of course, the beloved shot clock to move that action along. 20 seconds pre-flop, 30 seconds post-flop, and you get some of those time banks that whenever you really need them, you can take some more time.
Yeah, 30-minute levels in this opening 5K event. The levels will be bumped up to 40 minutes, starting with event number 2, which is, that's the noise you guys hear in the background of this final table playing out. Event number 2 is underway. You might have heard tournament director Paul Campbell, you know, kicking off the action, getting the cards in the air. That final table will be live streamed tomorrow. They're going to put Remko and I back in the ice box. They're going to bring out the A-team.
Or they're going to move the A-team to the ice box, Donnie. However way you look at it.
It probably depends how we do today. You know, I don't think I'm setting the bar too high, but, you know, maybe it's a trout. I don't know.
Meanwhile, Peters with top pair looking to get some chips back here, and the 3 on the turn is going to give both players a straight. Ioli completely free rolling here, having 2 spades. Peters, however, holding the ace of spades, removing one of his outs. Ioli checks on the turn. We could see this pot really balloon if Peters decides to bet, Donnie. Would not be strange to see Ioli check raise here, given the fact that he's already hit his straight and he's got the spades to go along with it.
Here comes D. Peters, 300K, 75% pot.
What sizing would you like to see from Ioli here, Donnie?
I mean, he can probably safely check call. I mean, I wouldn't hate a check raise as well, but you know, he might just want to, you know, let David Peters kind of hang himself a little bit more. Of course, you know, you can also take a different line. He's going to just call, but you could take a different line given the fact that you did check raise on the river against David Peters recently. Oh, okay.
5 on the river puts a chop on the board, but Donnie, the lone 6 now, making a straight. If someone wants to really take a big stab, this could be interesting.
It is going to be interesting to see if either player wants to go for this one.
My immediate thought when I see this river card is an overbet is what's going to be necessary here to take this pot away.
Yeah, I'm not so sure an overbet is fully needed. Not that I'm ruling it out, but you know, I think 600, you know, starting there and going up from there. Ioli does check. So now if you're David Peters, it's going to be interesting if he has any thought going through his mind. Not that we would know, but you know, if I bet here, am I going to get check raised again? Because that's what happened to me before. You know,
2 million?
But listen, David
2 million.
Peters
There it is.
not a man to back down. 2 million.
I felt it, Donnie. I felt the overbet coming. I knew it.
And Ioli just, he knows it. Like, he's just like, really, this guy? Like, I mean, you know, come on. Like, I checked. Why did I check? Well, you know, I should have just bet.
Such a stupid river.
Ioli has 2 thoughts. He's like, David Peters is messing with me, or David Peters is messing with me. One of those means he's trying to get him off a split pot. One of them means I'm getting taken to Value Town right now, and he's going to show me a 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's never a comfortable spot when you're forced with, you know, where you're at best you're chopping. Right. Like that. It just stinks.
Like,
and
you're investing $2 million to win 500K.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of times it's just very uncomfortable when you're calling to, again, at best chop, when people aren't sizing it like D. Peters is sizing this, right? He's sizing this 2x pot, so it's just like, really? Like, this just seems so silly.
Everyone watching this right now has been in this situation where if you call, they show you a 6. If you fold, they show you the chop. That's exactly what this spot feels like.
Also rather interesting that, you know, Ioli immediately when D. Peters said 2 million, like you can tell he's not raising. Like he immediately kind of took the glasses off. He said, really, like, this is so stupid, this river, what is this? You know, he's kind of like squirming in his chair. So at least he's giving off that it's call or fold, which probably makes D. Peters feel pretty good that he's probably not going to lose the pot if he gets called, right?
David Peters, as always, stoic with the slow blink whenever he puts the pressure on his opponent. And Mark Ioli.
You see what I have later. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
That's the laugh and smile of a man in pain.
What do you have? Let's laugh right now.
I had 10-5 of spades. It's like, are you kidding me? What a ridiculous.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And to check call, take the check call line on the turn 2. Jeez Louise.
David
What you got,
Peters.
David?
Could I give you?
I also had an interesting hand.
What?
So I also had an interesting
Oh,
hand.
okay, nice.
Interesting hands all around.
If you're looking to host and film a poker tournament or just a company gathering, the PokerGO studio located in the heart of the Las Vegas Strip can seamlessly host your event. With its state-of-the-art control room and a tournament area that fits up to 14 poker tables, there's nothing else in the Las Vegas Strip quite like the PokerGO studio. Order up and have the day and night of your life.
Let's shuffle up and deal!
For more information, contact us at events@pokergo.com.
Back inside the studio here as we look at event number 2. 10K, no limit. Donnie, who are you seeing? Who are we spotting out here?
I see Jeremy Osmus. I see Eric Baldwin. I saw Andrew Lucky Chewy Lichtenberger. I see Byron Caveman. We don't see him often, but he's here. Chino Reem, Alex Fox, and Eric Seidel, Anthony Hu. David Coleman. Obviously a ton of success in the kickoff series and leading the PGT leaderboard. He's out there. Ed Sebesta is back. Let's go.
Big Ed, always a fan favorite as we look back at our 2023 PGT final results. Isaac Haxton, the player of the year, 7.2 million in earnings. Brewer, Chitwick, Weinman, and Foxen completing the top 5. It was an incredible battle to get into that top 40. Donnie, tell the viewers a little more about what we have coming up this year on the PGT.
Yeah, of course, we'll have our mainstays returning, the majors. The PokerGO Cup is the first of those majors. We also have the U.S. Poker Open, which we just recently announced. You guys can check out the schedule over on pgt.com. We'll have Poker Masters later on, you know, in the fall sometime. That usually falls September, October-ish. We got PGT PLO series coming up in the first half of the year. We have a mixed game series coming up first half of the year. So a lot of stuff is returning from the last year on the PGT. Of course, trying to grow the events every single year, and then, you know, again, ultimately culminating in that PGT Championship $1 million free roll that will be back at the end of the season. Dates to be determined. You guys can check out the leaderboard, articles, news, schedule, all that sort of stuff, again, over at pgt.com.
There was a quick look at the tournament summary presented by StormX. If you're just tuning in, we lost Fabian Quoss, Dusti Smith, and Cody Daniels at the start of play at this final table. Three-handed action right now as the blinds are up to 50K, 100K with 100K big blind ante. Final 3 players are guaranteed $63,000, $88,000 for second, and $141,000 up top. If you're catching us on YouTube, payouts available in the description. And shout out to those interacting with us in the chat. We love to see it. We got a lot of our regulars back in the chat. Like we mentioned at the top of the show, Donnie and I will be on the call on YouTube for the entire PokerGO Cup. We're going to have some superstars on the call on PokerGO, including Ali Najad is on the schedule. Maria Ho is coming through. Your 2 favorites, Jeff and Brent, are going to be in the mix. I think I saw Jesse Sylvia's name on the sheet, so we got experts galore at the PokerGO Cup.
It's going to be a good season, Remko. That's for sure.
225.
David Peters raising it up on the button to 225. Now that we're three-handed, which is my favorite time in the tournament. So much pressure to be applied during this time in the tournament. The blinds are big. The ante really hurts. It stings. And someone like David Peters is going to try to take advantage of that and all his experience to chip up before he hopefully gets down to heads-up play. Engaged father-to-be David Peters.
Battling against the baby run goods. That is tough, man.
Baby Run Good mentioned earlier by Donnie. Did not work for him.
That kid and a new.
Yeah, Baby Run Good, everyone anti-sweat.
I know, dude. Yeah.
How long till the baby?
June 6th is the due date.
We'll fight an uphill battle. It's all
right. We got some time to we gotta fight off the real Run Good, right?
Not sure exactly when the Run Good starts.
Gotta be closer in than this, though. Well, congrats.
Thanks.
Mark Ioli finds kings in the small blind. The dealer has been kind to him so far at this final table. He's picked up many playable hands. No action, though, on this one. Here's a look at Octopi Poker, your path to poker mastery. Octopi Poker is building your path to poker mastery. Combine modern tools with collaborative poker study. Plus, you can search Octopi Poker's growing collection of live-streamed hands for further learning. For a limited time, get access to the Octopi Poker platform for free. Become part of the tribe now and sign up at octopipoker.ai. .ai, keep that in mind.
Yeah, that the searchable live stream database is pretty cool because it's in partnership with us, with PokerGO, right? So They have a deal to get access to all of our content. They are making it a searchable database. So if you want to see any hands that David Peters played against Daniel Negreanu, you can just head on over to Octopi Poker. You can put that in. You can see kind of an analysis, a breakdown of the amount of hands they've played together over the years in the different events, and how they've played against each other. So it's a good learning tool. It's also probably good for the player specifically. I was actually listening to Dat Poker podcast on the way in, and Daniel Negreanu said that's a great tool for him, so he doesn't have to watch like the full streams. He can kind of just go to Octopi Poker. He can type in some names, look at his opponents, and get some insight as to how they play. So pretty cool product they're building there.
It's kind of like when you hear the analysts on TV, whether it's NBA or NFL, talk about watching film and doing some studying in the film room. Poker is becoming more and more like that.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. I mean, it's poker is highly analytical, highly data-driven these days.
Yeah, the big ones probably heavy, but the little ones.
And you guys saw the two images there on the screen. Andrew Lucky Chewy Lichtenberger, Nick Schulman. They're part of the founding group of Octopi Poker, so if their success in poker and their experience in the game is anything to go by, Octopi Poker is probably going to do pretty well overall.
And as a player, you're going to learn a lot from it, so a lot of upside there when it comes to studying in a new way. Queen, Jack 5 on this flop, 2 diamonds. David Peters flops top pair. Peters, second in chips now, 46 big blinds coming into this hand. Daniels bets 250. Donnie, if you're Peters here, top pair on this board with 2 diamonds, also quite a few draws possible given the action. How do you approach this top pair?
I mean, I think you can check call. I think there's some avenue where maybe, I don't know, maybe you just put it in, at some extent, just because of the sizing that Daniels has, or the stack size that Daniels has, I should say. Peters does go with the check call approach. I mean, they are 3-handed here, so ranges can be a little bit wider than you might normally see at a 7-handed or an 8-handed table. Check here on the turn. 4 comes in on the river. Peters probably feels very good now overall.
$375.
Third pot here from Peters. Daniels here is left with just king high. Seemed like he didn't really want to give it up, but ultimately king high just fell into that bucket of not good enough. So more chips for David Peters.
Yeah, Peters slowly closing the gap here on Ioli at his 22nd career PhD final table. This guy practically lives at this table. Here's a look back at our 2023 PokerGO Cup. 8 events, 8 different winners. Kerry Katz was the overall series champ, and Isaac Haxton took down the 50K. 7.5 million in prize money awarded.
I believe that race came down to that final 50K event where, if I remember correctly, Anthony Hu was like on the sidelines sweating because it needed to play out a certain way at the final table. Ultimately, Kerry finished high enough, and then Isaac Haxton went on to win it.
David Peters applying that pressure on Shawn Daniels, who is our short stack with 14 bigs in the big blind. Always hurts a little more when you have to give up that ante and the big blind.
before Kerry Katz, Daniel Negreanu, a winner of the PokerGO Cup. Jeremy Osmus, a winner of the PokerGO Cup. So some big names have won this series.
Of course, when Negreanu won the cup, it was because of Kerry winning the 50K.
Yep.
That famous image of Negreanu drinking from the cup. That was right here on this stage. It could happen again this year. Negreanu skipped the 5K, the opening event, this event. He is now entering the 10K event number 2. He did say that he's only going to play when he feels ready. So let's hope he goes on a bit of a run and stays in contention for the overall, as Shawn Daniels hopes to stay in contention here.
1.45.
Moving all in. And Ioli with the quick fold with the 7-6 offsuit.
Shawn Daniels, the current short stack here, three-handed in event number 1. But still working on 16.5 big blinds. He will be in the big blind next hand. Ioli here electing to limp the 10-9 off, and Peters checks the ace-7 off. Nine, 4 deuce, all diamonds. $100K bet here from Ioli with that top pair. Gets it done. Peters limps in here from the small blind. Daniels finds the ace-jack off in the big. Could see him just put this in here given his stack size. Started this hand with 16.5 big blinds. There it is. And quick fold from Peters, and we're on to the next one.
We table together 15 years ago.
15 years
Foxwoods in a 5K.
Oh, wow.
I forgot about it, but just like every now and then I'll scroll through Hendon.
Oh, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
Foxwood. I've been to Foxwoods in a long time.
I know. I mean, I think that was the last time I was there.
Yeah.
2009 or whatever, but yeah.
What place did I get? I think I got like 7th or something.
I got 8th or 9th. Like looking back, I played terrible. But
Yeah.
it was like Carlos Mortensen was.
Yeah, he was
those
there, yeah.
guys. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Old school.
Oh, that's a throwback.
Shout out to the World Poker Finals back in the day, 2009 maybe, back at Foxwoods with these two.
And I actually remember being there, and what's his name, John Aguilar or whoever his name is, told me about DraftKings back then. I was like,
oh, really?
at that Foxwoods trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're gonna launch this thing. I was like, wow. And here it is. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 15 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, those Foxwoods tournaments used to be huge.
Yeah. Where'd you grow up?
Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a big
Never
time
really played
Foxwoods
much
guy,
in
right,
Ohio,
Donnie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been there in forever, but that's kind of my, well, you know, where I cut my teeth in the game for a while. It was the biggest casino, you know, within reasonable reach of me. It was about an hour and a half to a 2-hour drive, so during the summers, I would drive down there a couple times
Probably
a week.
just like a note that says, like, if you're reading this, like, screw you, because that means I didn't win, you know?
Hopefully it's just a really sick troll.
In case they missed it, the kid said whoever knocks him out gets the key, and it falls.
He seems
into
way
the
too
end,
nice
so
and genuine for it not to be a troll, but man, I know
know.
it's just something fucking hilarious. Like
What was it in the when Cody Daniels made his WSB main event run? He had a similar like token item. Was it a rock?
It was a rock.
Yeah, that
Passed
he
the
gave, and he
rock.
passed it all the way, and you know it eventually ends up in the winner's stack at the end because you know if you bust the person who has it, you get it, and it goes on. So this time around, it's a key. So we'll see who can ride that out to victory. But, you know, of course, Ioli is the one who knocked out Cody Daniels and is the current chip leader. So he's got the key, and he's in the best position right now to win.
It's the key to success, Donnie.
That's right.
Ioli currently our chip leader as Daniels is all in.
How much?
1.5.
Peters with a small pair, Donnie. How do small pairs fare these days in situations like this?
1.6.
I mean, they kind of close. You know, I think Peters might find a fold here.
It's close though, right? Like pocket fives. If it's sevens, he might be calling rather quickly.
Yeah, you know, sixes and sevens, eights for sure. You know, obviously the higher you go, the better.
Peter's doing some math, trying to figure out whether this is the right decision. And Donnie, these top players, they study these kinds of spots, right? To make sure that the math is correct on their decision making.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Peters is, of course, extremely studied, well-versed. Then there's the, you know, the player-specific aspect. You know, what do you know about Shawn Daniels? How does he play? What are the types of hands he's going to be putting in here? Peters does lay it down.
And Shawn Daniels, first cash, first final table, chasing, of course, his first win. And I gotta say, I love the glasses.
Those are some Maui gyms, they look like.
They look really classy. Daniels again with a shovable hand. Let's see if he applies the pressure.
He might be a little too deep now to just, you know, put this in. Comes in with a raise.
And he seemingly picked the right time to lay off the gas just a little bit, because a shove here would have probably gotten called pretty quickly from Ioli, who moves all in, and Daniels now able to get away from it rather easily.
Yeah, also might have been a little bit troublesome for him had he elected to limp, because if he goes limp, raise, jam, then he's stuck there as well.
Here's a look at our PokerGO shop. Take your game to the next level. The PokerGO shop is the home of the best apparel in the game. Hats, shirts, hoodies, and more. Our shop has it all. Shop now at shop.pokergo.com. Ace, Jack, Queen in this unraised pot. Ioli hitting a queen. Ioli betting 100K, and his timing is spot on as Peters improves to a pair of eights. 7 completes the board on the river.
100.
Ioli trying to take whatever he can get, betting just one big blind on the river. Peters thinking to himself, is he ever going to bluff that small, Donnie?
I mean, yeah, there's times when you're going to bluff super small. I mean, the pot's not really that big.
10 seconds.
Also, there's times when, you know, he's going to do this with the 7, right?
10K players, 1,015, that's Dan.
The
Queen?
David
Old
Peters
school.
and Mark Ioli, old school indeed, Donnie, going way back for this Foxwoods event, November 2009. Both made a deep run. Peters finishing in 7th place. Ioli got 8th. Carlos Mortensen, former main event champ, victorious in that event. And here
That event was the one that took place right before the main event, the WPT main event. Who won it?
2009.
World Poker Finals at Foxwoods.
There's a few names going through my head that were successful back in that era. I guess the first name that comes to mind is probably wrong, but I thought Martin de Kniff.
No.
But he did win a big World Poker Tour. Was it Chino Reem?
No.
All right, you tell me.
Cornell Simpan.
Cornell Simpan. Wow. Digging deep, Donnie. Digging deep. I appreciate it. That is some good poker history. I'm going to see if anyone...
Of course, that World Poker Finals event was the jump-off point for somebody we know well, Nick Schulman.
Yes.
Remember, he won that one for, at the time, over $2 million.
Oh, my God.
Insane back then.
Yeah.
Insane.
I had pocket jacks.
You're so full of shit.
I'm full of shit?
It's tough to
Why
live
would I
on
lie to
stream,
you?
though.
What do you say?
It's tough to lie on stream.
If anyone could do
Yeah,
it.
why would I lie to you? Why would I lie to you?
I had a jack.
I'm the only one
Felt
who's
like you were
telling
lying.
hands this final table so far. I'm telling multiple. You guys are steel traps.
I haven't had anything to tell you, dog.
To finish up what you started, Donnie, about the World Poker Finals. Schulman winning that event back in 05 for $2.1 million. That was also his first ever live cash. Just
Wild.
comes in, bursting through the doors, winning his first ever event, which is pretty insane.
Another blind on blind action here. Daniels versus Ioli. Daniels going to check call with the jack high and a gutter here. Ioli has second pair. Deuce of spades on the turn. Both players picking up backdoor flush draws. Daniels' jack of spades is the best in that regard. Another bet here from Ioli, this time 200K after Daniels checks. Daniels looks kind of badass, man. Like, I mean, the
100%.
tattoo, the shades.
The necklace.
Yeah. I think the black t-shirt helps as well, you know. I mean, a little bit of scruff on the beard. Like, he's just got it going.
Board completed here with the King of Clubs, 900K in the middle. 7 best here for Ioli. But if Daniels takes a stab here, he could be successful. Now, of course, bluffing off the small stack, never easy. Action now on Ioli, who might check back here with some showdown value. And he does. 7 is good, and
Nice hand.
Shawn Daniels getting shorter. Bit of regret there in his voice about the way he played that hand.
Rolling in there in the river or what?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, probably not the spot to do
Just
it.
thinking like 2009. You guys been around a long time, damn.
What you say?
Just thinking about you both playing at Foxwoods in 2009. Mesmerized.
Yeah, no, I understand.
That's all you're thinking about during the hand.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow. Fucking
I
legend.
said that to distract my opposition, so yeah.
2009, the year that I played my first World Series poker
Sick
event,
and
Donnie.
just piled, and I just
Wow.
found the call somehow.
21 years old.
That might have been my first. I
don't
can't
think so.
remember.
Do you remember what my first event was?
It's probably horse.
Exactly.
Boom.
$1,500 horse.
Of course it was.
My first table, Mike Matisow and Mike Sexton.
That must have been fun.
Yep. Couldn't get a word in. I was also very intimidated. Peters and Ioli going head-to-head again. 9-4-4 on this flop. Of course, backdoor straight flush draw for David Peters. How can you ignore the fact that that 4 spades pairs so well with his 7-6? Ioli backdoor hearts. He's got the 2 overcards. Comes out firing. Peters is going to give it up and wait for a better spot. Still 3-handed here inside the PokerGO studio. Stephen Chidwick, all-time leader in PGT cashes, 66 to be exact. Of course, way back when, winner of the first ever Poker Masters. Chidwick also winning the Masters in 2023. Martin Zamani winning of the US Poker Open. That is coming up later this spring. Isaac Haxton will be the defending champion in this year's Super High Roller Bowl. And Kerry Katz played in event number 1, trying to defend his Cup title. It's going to be a tough one. Big fields so far showing up for these first few events. You can follow along with updates on pgt.com for all your standings, schedules, live reporting, and everything else as it relates to the PGT.
After losing that recent pot, Shawn Daniels, you know, trending back towards trouble territory. Now sub 12 big blinds, and could 3-bet jam here with the king-jack off after Peters opens the button. If he does,
oh wow,
yeah, there it is. If he does, I think Peters might have enough to call here.
Daniels
11.75.
all in. Ioli with queen 10 off. We're going to expect to see that going into the muck. And now action back on David Peters. It's 11 big blinds. Quickly makes the call, and now Shawn Daniels at risk with king-jack offsuit. David Peters ahead with ace-8 of clubs. Clubs no good for Daniels here, as he's looking for a king, a jack, diamonds, or perhaps some kind of straight to stay alive in this event. Let's see the flop here.
Jack's been coming a lot. Why not?
Jack on the river earlier sent Cody Daniels to the rail. Can the jack keep Daniels in this event? We see 6 deuce 3 on the flop, 2 clubs. That removes the jack of clubs from Daniels' outs. He now has 5 outs to stay alive. Turn is the 9 of diamonds. Daniels looking for a king or a jack to stay alive in this event, or else he will be our 3rd place finisher. River card is the queen of hearts, and that'll do it for Shawn Daniels. He takes home $63,825 for his efforts. Little trip to Vegas, hopped into this tournament, takes home a nice little payday as we are down
they were taking a little break, or no?
the final 2 players in this event, both guaranteed $88,800.
Okay.
And there's $141,000 up top for the winner. All right, we're getting set for heads-up play. It's going to be an exciting one as Ioli takes 84 big blinds into this battle. David Peters, the short stack, but still 54 bigs. That is plenty to work with for the experienced high roller player. These guys go way back, so this could make for a very interesting final heads-up battle.
If you're looking to host and film a poker tournament or just a company gathering, the PokerGO studio, located in the heart of the Las Vegas Strip, can seamlessly host your event. With its state-of-the-art control room and a tournament area that fits up to 14 poker tables, there's nothing else in the Las Vegas Strip quite like the PokerGO studio. Order up and have the day and night of your life.
Let's shuffle up and deal!
For more information, contact us at events@pokergo.com.
Welcome back to the PokerGO studio in Las Vegas. You're here for the conclusion of event number 1, the 5K No Limit Hold'em opening events of the 2024 PokerGO Cup. We had 111 entries in this event. The average stack right now, 69 big blinds. And we're battling for that first prize of $141,000. And of course, there it is, the PokerGO Cup. The small cup, I have to say, because the big cup, of course, will be for the overall champ, and that thing weighs a ton. Mark Ioli won World Series of Poker bracelet. He is our chip leader with 84 big blinds, going up against a future Hall of Famer, dare I say, in Mr. David Peters, currently 10th on poker's all-time money list, and he already probably has a resume big enough to get into the Hall. 4 bracelets for Peters, just a small snippet of his long list of accomplishments. The question now being, is he going to add a PokerGO Cup title to that resume? Let's get those cards in the air as we see the eliminated players from earlier today. First, Cody Daniels, very unlucky. A jack on the river crushed his ace-queen as he was up against Mark Ioli. We also lost Dusti Smith and then German legend Fabian Quoss before Shawn Daniels exited in 3rd place. And cards now in the air, play underway. 7s for Mark Ioli, he's going to raise it up. Donnie, what are your expectations here from this heads-up battle?
Feels like we could be here a while. I mean, these guys are pretty deep. Peters is the shortest stack, but he's got 54 big, so could see I don't know, a bit of small ball. I mean, listen, they can obviously, of course, come out swinging, but if they take more of a conservative approach and really are both trying to go for the win, then yeah, I think we could be here for a little bit.
If you're watching us on YouTube or Twitch, let us know in the chat who you are rooting for. Same goes, of course, to our friends on PokerGO.com. Those are the real winners, because we mentioned this before. All annual subscribers to PokerGO are automatically entered into our raffle for a chance to play in our Dream Seat Invitational, which is the event that can get you into the $1 Million free roll the night before the end of this season. Peters raising it up to 400K.
Lines are up now, so
oh, they are up.
Let's go.
I was gonna say big raise there, but we are playing 75K 150.
Yeah, this is the first hand, I believe, of this level. So
interesting stat here. Mark Ioli, as we are on hand 38 at this final table, has won 20 hands at this final table. Absolutely insane, dominating the match so far. Peters has only won 7 hands coming into heads-up play. After Peters' pre-flop raise, the flop went check-check, and now on the turn, perhaps we could see a stab here from Peters as the king pops up, which plays into his range a bit better than Ioli's.
Yeah, I would think so, but also he's got probably what he thinks is decent showdown value with the ace high, so he does check it back, and the king pairs the board on the turn. I would imagine Ioli right now feels pretty decent about his hand. He is going to come with a bet, 150. So just one big blind here, very small. Can hope to get called by worse. Maybe there is some times when, he can induce some sort of raise and
Peters giving it some serious thought before letting go of his ace-10. And Mark Ioli extends his chip lead. 2-1 chip lead. So Peters just a double up away from putting himself in that position. Here's a look at high stakes poker, the most iconic cash game show that lives on PokerGO.com. All seasons available on demand. New season starting February 19th. Use promo code NEWYEAR24 for $20 off your annual subscription. And let me tell you a little behind the scenes. Every now and then I wake up to an email or a text message or a Slack message from the people producing the show saying, oh my God, you got to see this hand. Oh my God, this pot is crazy. I saw a list of some of the biggest pots we're about to see. Donnie, expectations could not be higher.
Expectations are super high. You know, I feel like every single year, high stakes poker, every single season, high stakes poker delivers, you know, some sort of memorable moment or moments over the course of the season. I don't have any spoilers because I try and avoid them. Like, I'm a fan of the show, much like you are, you know, so if people do kind of tease us with some ideas, I try and stay away from actually watching anything ahead of time, you know, and I'll watch it just like I were a fan. What I will say is this. Phil Locke is back.
Phil Locke.
I believe season 7 was the last time.
Wow.
Which 12 to 7 isn't that big of a gap, but that was like the old high stakes poker, like 2009 to like that window of time. And then of course high stakes poker went away for a number of years before PokerGo resurrected it again. And listen, it's back. I mean, it's back to being high stakes poker.
Well,
like, it is the legendary show we all came up loving. There was the first season it came back, it was kind of like, this doesn't feel exactly like it. But that was season 9, season 10, boom, it's back. Like, it's awesome.
The way you teased and told the people watching about Phil Locke being back, let me say this. Andrew Roble, OMG. That's all I'll say. Andrew Roble, OMG. You have to see it to believe it. Some incredible hands coming up on the new season of High Stakes Poker. So better get in there. Subscribe to.
Yeah, that will be, that's exclusively on PokerGo. You know, you got to be a PokerGo subscriber. So PokerGo.com. Check it out.
Peters,
it's worth it.
Pair of 9s here in this passive pot, limped before the flop. Lots of checking going on right now.
Check, 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 check.
Should not be allowed.
You're forced to bet at some point.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot win the hand at showdown.
If both players check it down, then the pot just gets removed from the table, and the stacks just get shorter. Like, that's what happens. No one wins.
Not low.
Peters' Queen 9 is going to take it here.
I wonder if Phil Locke is going to bring the hoodie back. I feel like he has to.
He has to. The hoodies, the shades, you know what? His whole shtick. That's it. It's funny how those poker characters that got so much notoriety during the poker boom, like they'll never be able to shake the nicknames, the personas that they were classified as. Phil Locke is the Unabomber. Right? Daniel Negreanu was Kid Poker. Mike Mattisau, you mentioned earlier, playing your first WSP event, he was at the table. He's the mouth. All like they are those guys forever. No matter what happens, no matter how much they change, no matter how old Daniel Negreanu gets, he's what? I think he's 49 now, getting to 50. He's always going to be Kid Poker, right?
I like
That's
it.
just how it is.
Absolutely. Let us know in the chat. What's your favorite player nickname? Like who's top of your list? Kid Poker, the Mouth. There's so many good ones. The Magician. Do you have a favorite, Donnie?
I mean, all those are so good. Like I can't really. The Magician is good. Even like Howard Lederer, the Professor. Like they're just so good. The Unabomber for Phil Locke. Like, and they all they were given these nicknames like kind of with how they looked and acted, and then they all owned it, which is like the best part, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, as someone who has recently really dove back into the old WSOP episodes, which you can find all of them on PokerGo.com. We've released select years on our YouTube channel as well for those interested in reliving some of those moments. It is so cool to see and relive those entire main event broadcasts. And we're going to continue posting some of those for all the fans to watch. But it really made me forget how some of the years post-boom were so epic. 2010 main event was just out of control. So many people just straight up gambling. 100 players left in the main event, just 5 betting all in. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff happening. Of course, you got Michael Mizrachi's big run. You got Antoine Saoud getting super lucky.
The grinder.
You got Phil Ivey folding a flush. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff happening in that sort of 2009, 10, 11. 2011, Ben Lamb just owning everyone. Anton Makievsky trying to become the youngest ever main event winner at age 21. Names you can easily forget about, but so much cool poker history out there for
Sure, it wasn't
all
like
you
I
fans
was
to
on
watch.
electronics or anything, right? Just lost in my own mind there for a second.
Ioli's got some good-looking shades himself there. I know we lost the shades of Shawn Daniels, but you know, Mark Ioli's got some good ones. What type of shades do you think David Peters would wear? Is he like an aviator guy? Like, I have no idea. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him wear sunglasses.
No, I don't think so either. Peters limping in from the small blind. We've had this conversation many times before, Donnie, but wow, Ioli applying the pressure. What I was trying to say is that the format with the big ante really invites players to never really fold before the flop, right, Donnie?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to do a lot of limping in position.
Here's a look back at our eliminations at this Event 1 final table so far. Cody Daniels was the first player to go. Very unlucky for him. Dusti Smith came into the final table very short on chips, and she found one double up before hitting the rail. Fabian Quoss took his stance, moved all in with an overcard and a flush draw. That did not hit versus David Peters. And then Shawn Daniels, the most recent player to depart. And now we are down to the final two. David Peters heads up versus Mark Ioli. Peters a little more than a 2-1 underdog at this final table as we yet again go see a flop. And this flop could get interesting here. Or excuse me, the play could get interesting on this flop as Peters flops trips. Ioli with a gut shot. And the gut shot would give Peters a full house. So potentially some drama developing here. Ioli betting 300K. And this looks like raising chips to me. Donnie, is this the way in which the strength of Peters' hand goes undiscovered the most, raising it up here immediately?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he doesn't have to have an 8 here, check raise, and he can check raise, you know, some different types of draws. You know, some hands that have some backdoor equity. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how Ioli approaches this, because some of those hands that would be in Peters' check raising range, Ioli blocks, you know, having the 10-7. Like, he blocks, you know, the 9-7s, the 5-7s of the worlds, the 9-10s, stuff like that. So because of that, do you then give Peters a little bit more of a value range than, you know, kind of a bluff or a semi-bluff range here? Couple time extension cards used here for Ioli as he thinks this one through. It is, you know, a pretty small check raise, so Peters at least appears like he's inviting Ioli in here to make the call. And then also, you know, if you're Ioli, I mean, you're blocking 7-6. You're yeah, there it is.
Wow. Ioli moves all in, and Peters happy to snap it off here with trips. As I predicted, this flop could make for some interesting play. And there you have it, 7.9 million in the middle. And Ioli, Donnie, all but drawing dead here.
Oh, yeah. Gonna need a lot of help to be able to pull out on top in this one.
Ioli, of course, hoping that that 9 would be his nut card. And turn and river thrown down with some emphasis there by the dealer. The dealer was like, 4 diamonds, your hand is dead. Ace on the river, David Peters with a massive double up. And now we got a real match on our hands. Peters chip leading with 52 big blinds. Ioli still very healthy with 39 bigs, but mentally, Donnie, when you double up David Peters during heads up play, you must not be feeling the best.
There's a look at his fiance, Haley,
who played event number 1.
She did. Also pregnant with their baby boy, as D. Peters did mention earlier. It is a boy coming, I think he said, what, June 6th or July 6th? What? It's literally in the middle of WSOP.
Wow.
So bracelet number 5 might have to wait for David Peters.
Peters with the big double up. Blake in the chat says 98% on the flop is crazy. Yes, it is not easy to have someone down to just 2% on the flop. Peters stacking his profits right here. Shout out, by the way, to everyone
I had
tuned
outs
in.
on the turn, right?
No.
I just ripped it. I turned the low.
Oh, yeah, on the
Turned the
turn.
low
Yeah, on the
straight.
turn. Yeah.
Yeah. They told you to rip it. No, I'm just not saying anything for you, but I turned outs. Yeah, I thought it was like dead, and then
Yeah, I was wondering if they might have thought that
Oh, I
it was
thought
just
he was
over
dead.
on the turn.
I thought he was dead.
No, he
All
could have hit the fiver.
All I was looking for was running 10s.
No, he could. I mean, he could have backed into the, a straight.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're with us in the chat, please let us know where you're watching from. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. That's all we ask for. We're live again tomorrow with the final table of event number 2. Sunday is our off day for the players, and then Monday we have our event 3 final table. Buy-ins continue to go up at the Cup. 5K was our first event. 10K is going to be the buy-in for a few events, and then we're going to do 15 and 25. So the stakes will continue to get raised, as raising is what Ioli does right now with Queen 6 offsuit. Peters finds Ace King
1.4.
offsuit and makes it 1.4. Ioli with the easy fold. Donnie, if you're facing a top-tier player such as David Peters, what sort of strategy adjustments would you suggest for someone, Ioli is a really good player, very accomplished, but at the end of the day, he's going up against a future Hall of Famer.
Get lucky.
The plan was to fold, but the last minute, I was just like, he probably just would keep me wide here if he had an 8. Why not,
No.
Ace King again, back-to-back big slick here
maybe
for
he even has like
Peters.
Ace 6, and I got some outs here too. Brutal. Fuck.
Must be nice to be that good and get some cards along the way.
No, but I think in general, I joked with getting lucky, but Mark Ioli, he's still pretty deep, more than 30 big blinds in his stack, so he's a very experienced player. He may not be on the scene as much these days as David Peters is, but I don't think that his game should be overlooked at all. So I think if he's just able to play his game, kind of stay in the moment, not let that hand where he lost with the 10-7 after jamming the flop when Peters did have the trips, don't let that get to you, then he'll be fine. Because again, they are very deep. There's still a fair amount of play here in this heads-up match.
King 5 deuce 2 spades on this flop. Queen high best here. 3 on the turn. Pairs Ioli. Peters with the gut shot straight draw. Peters, as always, deliberate, taking his time here.
750.
Oh, and there it is, 750 just before the buzzer. Ioli with a small pair, just a 3. Also only has one opponent, which dramatically increases the strength of a small pair. Still, he has to wonder, if I call now, what is Peters going to do to me on the river? And he is going to make the call, perhaps hoping Peters slows down. by this action. River card is the queen, and now Ioli with 2 pair. Peters left with just 7 high. Could see Peters fire again here. And Ioli with a chance here to close the gap and make this an even match. Spade on the river. Peters has no spades, which doesn't help him. As the cool kids say, Peters unblocks Ioli to have spades. Peters once again pausing, and he decides to check, saving himself a lot of chips. Now Ioli with the question posed, how much do I want to make here in case I can get some value? Donnie, Ioli not really too worried about his spades here potentially, as Peters would have likely just continued betting.
Yeah, he probably would have. I mean, of course it's in the consideration. Wow, he just goes for it here.
Ioli just shoves, and Peters lets this one go. And as I mentioned, closing the gap. Ioli now up to 6.2 million. Peters down to 7.6. This is a real fair fight now. Here's a look at our upcoming streaming schedule live at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on the dates listed on your screen. Event number 2 tomorrow, and then we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all in a row. 10Ks, 2 15Ks, and a 25K championship event to cap it off. It's going to be an awesome week of poker action. We're stoked to bring you guys and girls so much high-stakes tournament action. If you love the coverage, please let us know in the chat. Let us know who you are rooting for. And perhaps get a sneak preview at what tomorrow's final table could look like, as event number 2 is underway right now. 10K no limit hold'em. Just a few names that I'm noticing here in the chip counts. Mr. Lucky Chewy, Bill Klein in the mix. We have Adam Walton, main event finalist from last year. As we see Ioli with 7s applying the pressure on Peters, who quickly lets it go. Stephen Chidwick, Dan Shack, Sean Winter, Eric Seidel, all battling it out inside the studio right now. If you're in Las Vegas, you can always come and play or stop by and say hello. Some guy named Daniel Negreanu also in the mix today in event number 2. The bar is open. I feel like poker fans forget sometimes, Donnie, that they can just stroll on in, get themselves a drink.
Oh, yeah.
Watch the stream on the big screen.
400.
We always got
We
sports
should
on
build
as well.
some bleachers. You think we can push for bleachers
We
out
should
there?
have bleachers. We should. I really think we should. But no vuvuzelas.
I mean, I'm team Vuvuzela, but I understand it in the confined space that is the studio.
Imagine.
It would be so loud.
Imagine if someone showed up with a vuvuzela in a poker room. I would just dump my chips and go home. Just shy of $1 million in the middle here. Ioli raised it to 400K before the flop. Action went check, check. Peters again with the check here on the turn. This time Peters the one with the small pair. Ioli not taking the bait. Every pot matters so much right now. There's basically $1 million on the line every time someone raises before the flop. And Peters happy to get the showdown here with his 6.
Oh, you have 6? Okay.
And that's going to win. lots of incentive for these guys to continue to see flops. The big blind and the big blind ante put so much money already in the middle before we even see a single card. Queen Jack off here for Peters, once again with a nice raising hand. And wow, Ioli finding ace queen of hearts. Could see some fireworks here, Donnie.
Yeah, I would expect this one is kicked up a little bit here, and then Peters has a pretty good hand that he's going to defend. Peters taking, you know, the less aggressive approach with limping in, which should allow him to call in position here. You know, not necessarily wanting to raise it up and possibly get blown off this hand. Does have a good looking Queen Jack off. 6-5-5 rainbow, 1 heart out there. Ioli's been, you know, he's been pretty quick with his actions overall. Yeah, there's been a couple times when he's used a few time extensions, but overall, you know, kind of seems like he has a plan and then he just kind of quickly falls through with it. Peters, of course, always a bit more methodical with his actions, thinks everything's through. He's going to call in position here. A little bit of a float. King on the turn.
Now, who helps this the most, this king on the turn?
Probably pretty good for Ioli. I mean, it can also be good for Peters. I mean, there's going to be some king high floats for him. Peters might have just connected with that board a little bit more than Ioli would, you know, limp calling the raise and the button, so Peters can be pretty wide pre-flop. We'll see if Peters does want to take this opportunity here to come with some sort of bet. He checks behind. Ooh, Jack on the river just finds it.
Wow.
for David Peters.
Now we've seen Ioli raise and then stab the flop. Now on the river, if you're Ioli, you just give up, or how do you approach this?
Probably just try and do whatever you think can get you to showdown here. I mean, your hand does have some value. Depending on, you know, if Peters does ultimately come with a bet here, I would think that he does try and find some value from his 2 pairs. So depending on that sizing, could certainly see Ioli calling. You know, there's going to be some misdraws, you know, some 7-8, some 7-4, stuff like that out there. It's a hefty bet. That's 75% pot.
Now, if Ioli thought that Mr. David Peters was BSing him at this point, can you ever find a call here? Now, ace-queen, of course, the best non-pair hand that he could have.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's some bluffs here. There's a 7-8s of the world. There's even a 9-8, 7-4, stuff like that. You know, 3-4, for example. All those types of straight draws that would, you know, probably play pretty similar here if you're David Peters. Just call on the button pre-flop. Don't necessarily need to raise those hands. You can obviously call a raise with those. You can call the bet on the flop with those draws. So yeah.
Ioli taking his time here, already threw a time extension chip into the middle. I think there was a fold. Yeah, there it is. Cards into the muck. David Peters chips up. Paul Campbell announcing that they're drawing for how many hands are left in this current level as we zoom out and take a look at the Vegas skyline to remind you that Octopi Poker is here for you to help you work on your poker game. Octopi Poker is building your path to poker mastery. Combine modern tools with collaborative poker study. Plus, you can search Octopi Poker's growing collection of live-streamed hands for further learning. For a limited time, get access to the Octopi Poker platform for free. Become a part of the tribe now and sign up at octopipoker.ai. That is .ai. Don't forget, go and check them out. Back to the action here. 6-3 offsuit raising to 400K. Donnie, is it advised to play hands as fragile as 6-3 offsuit?
Yeah, I mean, you're in position. A lot of incentive, you know, with the amount of money that's out there in the pot. These guys, I think, are deep enough. Probably also throw that 6-3 off into the category of, you know, if you are raising on the button with portions of your range, probably going to want to keep those raises to like the really, really good hands and then the really, really bad hands. So put that one in the really, really bad hand category. Maybe if it's like a 6-3 suited as opposed to offsuit, maybe if it's a 6-4, then you can start putting that more into like the limping range, you know, where you're kind of more confident calling a raise if Peters were to raise out of the big blind. So yeah. Peters did defend the big blind, and then this was checked to the river. Peters has that top pair, and it is best.
$950.
Full pot there, and Ioli just can't do anything with that one and just gives it up quickly. $32 live tournament wins for David Peters, looking for his 33rd. One of the biggest crushers in tournament poker. I think this might be the last hand or last one or two hands of this level before the blinds go up to which should be 100K, 200K. About a 2-to-1 lead for Peters entering this one. Queen 6-5, 2 spades on the flop. Peters flopping open-ended. He's also got backdoor hearts. Not much there for Ioli with his jack high. Minimum bet from Peters, quick fold from Ioli, and Aoli's gonna stretch it out, get the blood flowing, try and get the mojo back in his corner. Sit back down and get back to work.
It's definitely going to be a lot of hard work for him to fight his way back into this match. Blind's now going to be up to 100K, 200K, reducing the stack depth quite a bit.
Nice one here, though. King, Jack suited on the button. The blinds are up. So 200K big blind. Now Aoli's going to make it 500, and Peters looks like he might have something nice here. With the, oh, okay, not. He looks interested, though. How about that? Yeah. Does he not look interested?
He really does.
It may just be 9 deuce, but he's in there.
In there.
He looked like he might just show like the ace queen of spades the way he was looking.
Oh, wow.
Oh, here we go.
He knew it was coming. 9 high flop, 9-8-5. Peters takes over here, but Ioli with 2 overcards, flush draw, backdoor straight, has plenty of opportunities here to win this one, and we could see some serious fireworks with 1.2 million already in the middle. We're about to find out how Peters thinks about this top pair.
Yeah, kind of expect this just to get in here on the flop. Aoli's got a ton of equity in his hand. He's got those 2 overs.
Wow.
Oh, he just puts it in.
Moves all in immediately. And how fragile is this top pair? I mean, it's top pair, Donnie. What is he going to do?
Listen, it's definitely vulnerable. But, I mean, heads up, I mean, it just might be too much of a hand here. Heads up to get rid of top pair, even though you do have the worst kicker in the deck.
David Peters with a chance to see a turn and river card to potentially lock this thing up. But as we can see by the percentages on the screen, actually an underdog with the best hand currently.
And not that you see David Peters often kind of give stuff off, but I got a sense that he was a little bit surprised with this sizing. Like maybe he comes with a heftier bet and I'll check jam or I'll check call. Like certainly all those I think were Peters was well prepared for. But then all of a sudden, Ioli's just, I'm all in. Oh, what? Huh?
But Donnie, this is the best recipe when you're playing against someone of Peters' level. Let him make the decision. Put the pressure on him.
We need a headset on Haley. Like, what's happening?
We should dial Haley in.
Yeah, can we get like, let's go.
Sideline
What's
reporter?
happening? What's David thinking about? What's he gonna do?
David Peters with a big decision to make as Mark Ioli moves all in for 4 million chips into a pot worth just over 1 million. Huge decision here. Donnie, is he asking himself, can I outplay my opponent to a point where I can let go of this pair of nines? And I guess he just answered that question.
Wow, he does elect to give it up.
David Peters with the fold, and Mark Ioli chips up without showdown. Huge, huge momentum shift potentially here, as Ioli must got quite a confidence boost here from taking this one down. Donnie, what is Peters worried about there? What kind of hands are on his mind?
A better 9, I mean, I don't know how he would view that Ioli would play a hand like he had that has so much equity against your holding. Like, does he think he would just rip like the King Jack of Hearts, the Queen Jack of Hearts, stuff like that, right? Does he think maybe he's just got, I don't know, 2 10s, 2 black 10s, right? That the turn can change a lot of the dynamics. Is Ioli just going to put it in with that? Like, it's a tricky spot. And, like, probably if you call, if you're Peters,
Poker's
like,
funny like that, man. Sometimes, like, you make a plan in your head, and then the more you think, the more you go against it. Like, as I went for my 3rd time extension, I was like, why are you even grabbing this? Like, you're going to fold. I was like, man, this is going to be really sick if you end up calling this off somehow. And then I just, or jamming it off, and then I do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the mind is crazy like that.
Bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, if you start going down this, like, neural
Getting all these ideas. And
yeah, start going down these ideas. Yeah, sometimes you just run, and then it comes, I'm just like, I don't know, whatever. It's my own
And
thing.
sometimes, like, at the last second.
Yeah, I'm like, why am I not going to trust myself here? Like, I don't know. You don't always make the right read, but it's like, yeah.
Well, sometimes that last second one is like the one.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then it feels so good when you like kind of respect yourself when you get there, yeah.
Great look inside the mind of 2 very sharp poker players. And I feel like everyone who's listening to this and is watching this can identify with the fact that when you're put into a tough spot, you go through all the options, you give them all some consideration, and then sometimes you go with your gut. Sometimes you remember that you saw a chart someday, and then you maybe should be folding.
All in.
And David Peters right now decides to move all in. Donnie, I'm the type of poker player who can perfectly explain after the fact what I did and why I did it and what I probably should have done. But in the moment, when I'm all in for $37, I just sometimes just forget to think. Like, it's just so strange how...
Well, hindsight's 20/20, man,
But applying what you know versus talking about what you know is such a different game.
For sure. I mean, I totally agree. And in the moment, as those 2 players led on, like, there's just so much going on in your mind. There's this, there's that, Then there's between types of players like we see here, there's like the leveling war. Well, he knows that I know that he knows, so what do I know? Like, there's that whole aspect of things. So, yeah.
So far, we are treated to a very entertaining heads-up battle. 5-6 deuce on this flop. Ioli with a pair of 5s. He's got backdoor clubs going for him as well. Peters sitting on backdoor diamonds and 2 overcards. Peters comes along. 8 of spades hits on the turn. Peters picks up a gut shot. Ioli's pair of 5s still best. Ioli slows down here on the turn. Peters probably trying to think, can I take the initiative here? Take control? Does have some outs. Would probably be happy to see a jack and 9. And of course, a 7 on the river. And here, with that equity, he bets 875. And Ioli lets go of his pair of 5s. Well done, Mr. Peters, extending his chip lead. And now for the first time at this table, we have a player with over 10 million chips, David Peters, extending his lead close to a 3-1 chip lead. How does he do it, Donnie? How does he do it?
It's a crusher, man. The seasoned vet.
Yeah, I was there when he lost heads up for a World Series Poker bracelet before he had any to Dutchman Marcel Vonk back in 2010, I think.
Peters might just put this one in here.
On.
There it is.
Wow, pressure really applied right now to Ioli, who is sort of backed into a corner here. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps us spread the word on these events, as David Peters now sits on 76%, all the chips in play. Deep sigh there from Mark Ioli. Noticeable. Peters now, Donnie, perhaps balancing between limping and shoving.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. For Ioli here, I mean, I think he's going to need to find spots just like this. You know, he's got 16, 17 big blinds, at least to start that hand. So he's just going to try and find some spots, some good, decent hands to get his money in with, and you know, ultimately hope to double up and even this match.
Queen Ace suited, basically in shoving territory right now. Maybe he has a little bit too much, but he does move all in. Seeing some people chime in, saying that it's probably in Ioli's best interest to get it in, hope for a double up, and then, you know, restart the battle. And look at that beautiful trophy on the table. That alone, if you're a poker fan, should be reason enough to maybe even just try a satellite for the PGT events.
There was a $560 satellite for this tournament that I think gave out 6 seats.
Wow.
So,
hey,
I mean, that's pretty awesome if you ask me. I think it had 62 entries. So
475.
That's awesome. I'm telling you guys, the PGT is not out of reach.
No, it's definitely not. Come down, maybe play one of those Aria dailies. They got 160s, they got 240s. Win one of those.
Yeah.
Parlay it.
Donnie, parlay. Poker is
treat
all
that as your
about,
satellite, you know?
You know, back in the day when I used to play a lot, I would treat cash games as like satellites for tournaments. Try to run up a stack, playing the smaller games, and then scrape together a tournament buy-in and take a shot.
Ioli there giving Peters
Either
a
one
walk.
of us has folded a button.
Yeah, snap it.
Like literally, yeah.
Yeah.
No aggression in this hand so far, as we see a limped pot here. Let us know in the chat who you're rooting for, if you think Ioli can make a comeback, or if this one is got David Peters' name written all over it. Of course, points also up for grabs, Donnie. Players are looking to win the cup overall and try to make their way into the top 40 of the PGT leaderboard.
Yeah, the points do add up. Be a good boost for both of these players, of course, winning the opening event of the series. We know David Peters has gone on to
Are you going to play all the whole series?
win
I
one of
don't
our
know,
series
man. I
before.
wasn't planning on playing like everyone in the beginning. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, once you win one, you kind of want to, obviously.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. All in.
Ioli moves all in with ace-5.
I got a 10K seat too, so I'll definitely be in there.
Picks it up.
Yeah, I believe Ioli won a 10K seat via one of the $1,100 satellites that we ran before the series. So
wow. I mean,
even if he didn't have this score, we would see him at least fire into one of those 10Ks here.
I was going to say, this is a good jump-off point, because once you have points and once you're in contention, it's worth it to keep playing. Who wouldn't want a giant gold cup on their mantle?
Silver.
Silver cup.
Yeah.
But this is a gold cup.
This one's gold. The bigger one is silver.
Okay. Just
so you get one of each, you know?
Where's the bronze cup, Donnie? That's what I'm wondering.
Get a hold of Brent Hanks. He's the trophy guy.
There is a small trophy in our commentary booth, and it says Alex Foxon on it. So Alex Foxon hasn't picked up his trophy from last year's cup. Shame on you, Alex Foxon. I could probably just walk over and hand it to him.
He's out there somewhere.
Exactly.
I mean, go find him.
Once again, limped pot here. So we see King, Jack, 7, 2 clubs on the board. Peters flopping top pair. This is one of the spots where Peters was hoping for perhaps some aggression from Ioli. Unfortunately, he only has 9-3 offsuit. Nine-six of spades for Ioli. Looks like a good hand, but perhaps not the kind of hand you want to be all in with.
All in.
Scratch that. He's more than happy to be all in with that.
You know, it's just one of those hands where it's pretty good heads up, right? Like you maybe want to just try and see a flop, try and see 5. If you limp and Peters raises or jams, like what are you going to do with it? You're going to have to fold it. Can't really raise it yourself off of this stack, so just settle on, just put it in, and you know, worst case you get called and you're live, right?
Peters again with the limp. Ace, ace, deuce on the flop. Both players with a duck. 200. Ioli betting 200K. Peters eyeballing Ioli's stack before making the call. Donnie, you can never really get out of line with the 3 deuce on any kind of board, right?
Well, this turn card could make it interesting because it adds another diamond here, and Peters does have that 3 of diamonds, so. Ioli opting to check.
Peters with the diamond, all of a sudden his hand looking much better, but also excited to just see a river card. Queen hits on the river. Pot would be chopped if this goes to showdown. Quite a bit of an incentive for both players here to just get the showdown. There it is. Both players tap the table, and this pot will be chopped. Here's a look at our all-time cashes at the PokerGO Cup. Kerry Katz on top with 12 cashes, and a who's who of the top of poker's all-time money list following closely behind. The Cup always well attended by the top names. Peters, king deuce offsuit. Happy to check behind. Donnie, at what point are you going to try to just put Ioli all in with hands like king deuce?
I mean, if Ioli is limping here in position off that stack size, you know, you might want to have a bit better of a holding to put it in. Maybe figuring that, you know, Ioli is obviously showing some want to play the hand, right? So maybe he's got a really good one. He could certainly limp big in position and, you know, try and basically set a trap for David Peters. So. A whole bunch of checking here to the river. Peters and that king are going to be the best hand. 2 pair on board, jacks and 8s.
Check.
Peters maintains his lead, 53 big blinds to 16 big blinds. Donnie, I feel as though we're watching a countdown to a big all-in.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of watching paint dry in a way. not like, maybe that's a bad way to put it, but like it's been Peters a little bit over 10 million, Ioli a little bit over 3 million, the same for a dozen hands now, right? I mean, yeah, Peters will win a pot. Okay, fine. Then Ioli will win a pot. Okay, fine. So it's just, you know, it's probably better put, as you said, you know, where we're waiting for that explosion to happen. And it's probably going to happen at some point. Now, is that going to result in an Ioli double up or a Peters knockout and ultimately a tournament win? We'll get to that point when we get to it, but
a battle of the weak sevens. The only difference being that Ioli attached the pair to his hand. Peters, of course, salivating at the thought of a backdoor straight flush, Donnie. That's how poker works.
yeah, and he might just want to take a shot here. I mean, Ioli's not the deepest, of course, but
550.
there comes the check raise.
I mean, if you're Ioli here, the value of a pair in heads-up play is big, but you could be close to dead in a situation like this.
Yeah, I mean, if Peters is electing to check raise a king, you're in a pretty bad spot. Even if he's got, you know, 2 overs with a flush draw, not the best spot that you're in. So this is going to be very tricky. Of course, Ioli, as we've mentioned, is not the deepest here. So the pressure really on him being applied from David Peters.
Peters applying the pressure with just 7 high. Has those backdoor draws to potentially bail him out, but it won't be necessary on this hand as Ioli gives it up. Watches his stack shrink even more. Now down to just 13 big blinds.
Yeah, Ioli now really going to need to find some sort of hand, try and make something happen. Hope that it goes in his favor when the money gets in. But as you mentioned, down to, you know, that 13, 14 big blind territory, just getting shorter and shorter and shorter.
Hold.
King 3 offsuit, Ioli going for it. Peters with 6-5 off, 6-5 suited, throws it in the muck. Donnie, from Peters' perspective, 15 big blind shove. What sort of a hand are we looking for to call with?
King 9 suited, King 10, a lot of aces. Obviously the pairs, of course. Maybe some, you know, Queen Jacks, Jack 10s, stuff like that. Peter's going to limp here on the button, 7-3 off, and Ioli's got 8-7 off. He checks, and to a flop we go. King Jack 4 all spades.
200.
Ioli coming out with 200K. That's going to get it done.
Action still hot and heavy inside the studio. Get into your own action with PokerGO Play. Check it out on PokerGoPlay.com. Download through the Apple App Store or get it on Google Play. PokerGO Play, Donnie. You might as well just get playing right now.
Get in there, let's go. $10,000 in sweepstake prizing up for grabs.
Ioli limping in with Queen 4 off. Peters with 10-6 off. Perhaps sensing that Ioli is not limping in with strong hands. And he wants to keep that pressure on. And again, Ioli with the fold.
Good recognition there from Peters. Doing, I think, exactly what you just pointed out, you know. There have been some limped pots, but at least as far as I recall, you know, Ioli hasn't shown up with, you know, kind of a more premium holding. So Peters is attacking there.
We are still waiting for that big all-in showdown. Thanks to everyone who is tuned in right now. This match between David Peters and Mark Ioli, event 1 of the PokerGO Cup. King 10 off for Peters. Would be surprised to not see him shove, and there it is. Applying that pressure, and Ioli with King 5 of spades, perhaps with the decision here.
Yeah, a decision that he might just call it off here. I mean, 15 bigs to start this hand. Well, 1 big blind goes in, so he's got 14 left. I mean, King 5 suited heads up in this spot. Not the worst of it. You know, at some point, you're kind of just getting beaten down almost every single hand, like little by little. You got to take a stand, right? And I mean, we can of course see that Peters has him absolutely dominated, but how often is that going to happen?
Ioli does pull the trigger, risking his tournament life, and he's going to be really sad to find out that David Peters has him crushed. Ioli, of course, hoping for an ace-queen, an ace-jack, a hand against which he has live cards. In this case, he needs a 5 or he needs spades, maybe even some kind of straight. Otherwise, this event will be done, and David Peters will be crowned champion in event number 1 of the PokerGO Cup. Donnie, the suspense is here. Can he find it, though? Here comes the flop. 8-6 deuce. Some backdoor options here for
way worse flops than that.
Ioli. And indeed, there are way worse flops. Ioli looking for a 5 or running cards.
Come on.
The turn is the queen of spades. Now with 12 outs to double up. Ioli needing a spade or a 5 to survive, or else David Peters will be our champion. Let's see the river card. It is the 7 of clubs, and that will do it. David Peters is victorious in event 1 of the 2024 Poker Masters. He receives Cody Daniels' key and $141,000 for his efforts.
Yeah, the 1 misstep cost me, man.
A deep sigh from Mark Ioli, who was our chip leader for quite some time. Ioli takes home $88,800, and David Peters continues to deliver at the highest level. He is our champion in event number 1.
Thank you, man. 1 little misstep cost me, but
first live win since April 2023. Must feel nice to get the year started with an outright win for Mr. David Peters. Here's a look at our final results presented by Octopi Poker. Cody Daniels, first to depart in 6th place for $27,000. Dusti Smith, Fabian Quoss, Shawn Daniels, and Mark Ioli all gave it their best shot, but nobody could stop David Peters at today's final table. What a great final table we've had. And there's a look at David Peters hoisting the trophy. He's been in this spot many times before, and he will return to the studio for many events that we still have coming on the calendar. The PokerGO Cup continues streaming with a final table tomorrow. Tune back in at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern. For now, thank you all so much for watching. Tune back in tomorrow as we will continue to find our next champion in a 10K No Limit Hold'em event. My name is Remko Rinkema. Donnie Peters was alongside me. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you at tomorrow's final table.